Hey there, Impact Zone podcast. We are back again here today to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. And we are here to talk about another match that has been announced for the Rebellion pay-per-view. I said that these might come hard and fast as we were getting along here towards the show, because again, it is only a couple of weeks away. So the match is the Elegance brand versus the TNA Knockouts legends, Mickie James, ODB, and Taryn Terrell. So I was talking about this a little bit in the review of the Sacrifice show and the preview of the Rebellion show. Like, I didn't know exactly what you were going to do and how you were going to do it or whatever, but okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, at least for now. I don't really think that, I don't know, this is a fine match, I guess, in some ways, but when you're talking about these big pay-per-views a lot of the time, I feel like you need, like, those bigger matches. Not to say that this is a small match, but it isn't the big match that I feel like it could be, where you've got all these other things going on or whatever, like between Ash and Mickie. You've got that thing going between them, and I think you're still building to some one-on-one encounter between them, and that will be the bigger thing. Now, if that's at like Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, I think that's fine. But again, I don't know whether it could have been at this show, and maybe you could have had this match on Sacrifice. But then, like, I would ask, what would you cut or what would you change? And I said that there was a couple of matches on that show that weren't really, like, built up stories or whatever. Like the Ali Trey Miguel match, the tag match that was there, that was an absolute banger, despite not being really built up to and not really being a match that I thought deserved to be on pay-per-view. It was an awesome match, and to see that match was amazing. So, and yes, it is a B show pay-per-view, so again, at least there is that where you can say, you know, well, it's not on one of these other main shows where it's like, yeah, you need to have that level of concision or try to. And that's where I'm at here. I don't like, that's the one thing that I'm kind of criticizing here, but you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. This is what they've got planned. They've obviously got other plans for later on down the road and whatever else. So yeah, I think I'm fine with it overall. As I said before, I honestly think you're building to something maybe you're even building something between the tag team champions of Maggie Lee and what's her name? Heather Heather Reckless or whatever her name is now. M by Elegance and Heather by Elegance or whatever. And ODB and Taryn, potentially. I don't know. At least in the short term. I don't know. I think like Taryn isn't probably sticking around for too long, I would say. Whereas ODB, I think that I don't know whether she's actually under contract as such, but like, and I think maybe Mickie is in a similar position where she won't be around for long. She's sort of on a handshake agreement, so she's not going to be here for like more than a few months or whatever. She's not going to be here for a year or whatever. She's just going to come in, do a few things, and then go away. Same with Taryn, I feel like. I think ODB, maybe Taryn does, I don't know. Maybe things could change, maybe. Like, you never know. So, but, like, that's where I'm just, like, reading into it a little bit and thinking, okay, And again, like, even if they're going to be here for 6 months plus or whatever, or even a year plus or whatever it is, you know, realistically in the long term, they're not going to be here much longer term for the most part. And Ash and her crew they're going to be here next year. They're going to be here in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Whereas the rest of these gals aren't probably. Maybe they'll make appearances here and there, who knows, or whatever. But they're probably not going to be like active or doing anything in the company in the next, 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. For the most part. So, and again, like, I don't know. I think ODB and especially Mickey, they've done pretty much everything that they could do in this business. I mean, maybe Taryn, maybe people could see that she hasn't had that as much success as ODB and Mickey, but I still think that she's pretty much done everything that she can do in this business, and doing these little returns or doing these little moments or whatever, that's cool too. But like, again, and maybe they can win some version of these belts or something like that, or something else, I don't know. But again, that's very minor, and I think that if they're gonna win these belts at some point, the knockouts tag team titles, which is still a big if in my opinion, that they will only be there until they put some other team over. And realistically, the Elegance brand is the only team that they could put over, so that doesn't really make any sense for them to hold the belts like that and to reign for a while and then just lose them to an extent. But still, it might be something that you're gonna do, potentially. Who knows? But I don't really see the point that much in it. You know what I mean? So yeah. Same with like the situation between Mickey and Ash. Like, I feel like even if you're gonna have Mickey appear here and there in the future, or could have her appear here and there in the future, like I said, she's done everything. There's not much more to be done. You know what I mean? And if you're bringing her in, and again, same thing for Taryn and ODB, the idea of bringing you in is quick ratings boost, or quick, boost of like to the divisions that you're going to be in for a little while. And then you're just going to be here to put other people over. And, maybe ODB said, hey, I want to retire and rah this year or whatever. Maybe I said maybe you're going to do something with Ash and Mickey. You could do something with Ash and ODB. You know what I mean? Like, as well. So I don't know whether which one comes first, but I think like Mickey has more of a heated angle right now with Ash more specifically. So I would think that could come first, per se. At least that's my perspective of it. But yeah, same thing there. It's like the old guard are here to help boost up the ratings for a little while, have a nice little run, do their thing, and then put people over on the way out effectively. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I see this going. Like, you've got to get heat on the heels. You've got to make the journey for the baby faces arduous. So I just see the Elegance brand winning this one, because hey, you need to set things up for later. You need to make the journey, as I said, journey difficult for the baby faces. Like, any triumph that they have has got to be like earned. And like, again, these guys, or these gals in this case, are the future and the present of the division, so yes, they can take some losses here and there, but they can't take too many losses. And eventually, like, again, the Legends unfortunately have pretty much done everything that there is to do for the most part. Having a nice, cool little moment here or there, or whatever else it is, or whatnot, that is cool and is nice for them and whatever else. But ultimately, in the end of it, it is like, yes, but that was done to sort of put somebody else over in another way. You know, hey, I retired this person, or I had this person's last match, or whatever else it was. At least in TNA, for the most part, you know. So it was like, and that's sometimes where that, like, changing of history, or, you know, whittling away of history sometimes is a little bit, like, good, because yeah, people obviously, like, say they retire and then they don't really retire and things like that, and have a few matches here on the indies or whatever else it is. But, like, yeah, again, like, how many people saw that? Mainly the people in the arena, and maybe like a few people who got to see the clips of it here and there on social media or whatever. You know, it wasn't like a lot of people really got to see it. Like, the big moment was when you were in TNA, or when you were in WWE, or when you were in AEW, or wherever, you know, and thousands of millions of people saw it, you know, like. So again, I think it means a lot more to have those moments in the bigger space and in that bigger place a lot of the times, and not to be like, oh yes, you know, some of those other things aren't relevant or aren't good for some of those people that got to see it in their hometown or something else, or whatever else it is, or whatnot. But still, for the most part, it, like, that's why the company should do those things and say, okay, let's try to plan this around, like, doing something big for this person or for that person or whatever it is in their hometown, or at least in their home state, you know, and at least close to their hometown, you know, so that they get their moment, and, you know, it feels like, oh man, you know, this was really the culmination of this story, and what else is there to be done? You know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that is my thoughts on this one. As I say, it, like, I like, they've only got a couple of weeks to build to this show, and, like, saying, hey, we're just going to announce this thing right here, right now, basically right after, you know, the show or whatever else it is, that we just had. Maybe they did this on the tapings or whatever else it was, because I believe that they've done the tapings, or they're doing the tapings right now for the next 2 weeks. So they're like, hey, this is something that we're working towards, or whatever else it is. Again, they realize, hey, we've only got 2 weeks, and we've got to sell tickets, and we've got to get people ready and raring to go for that show. We cannot be sitting here on our hands and whatnot, and then announce things the day before or whatever else it is, and hope that people turn up. You know, we've got to, like, you haven't announced your main event or whatever, and a few other matches for the show, but still, for the most part, you've got most of your card here. You've got pretty much everything, that every main division, for the most part, covered, apart from, like, your like, this involves the women's tag team, but whatever. Like, I do feel like perhaps they should have either a title well, probably you have to have the title defense, like, later down the road at the next, like, B show pay-per-view or whatever. So, or maybe like a one match on TV or something like that, maybe, just to keep the you know, the intrigue there, or whatever else it is with those titles and keep them defended and keep them like, you know, like relevant and whatnot, because you don't want them to be like forgotten about or whatever else it is. But anyway, yeah, you've got most of the show there. Couple more matches. I'm sure they'll announce what's going on in the next by this Thursday, hopefully, and maybe like next week. After that, they'll only be basically announcing the pre-show matches. Perhaps that will be the last sort of couple of little things that they announce. So yeah, we'll wait and we'll see. And I'll try to keep on top of the news. I know that I haven't come exactly right after it or whatever else it is, but still, I've tried my best to keep up with it. It is quite difficult to keep up with it and whatnot. So yeah, do bear with me, and especially since I'm in a completely different time zone and whatnot. And a lot of these things take time to record, time to produce, time to edit, and just time to upload to the internet and share around. So yeah. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed. Hope you're all being well and all being good out there, and hope that you will join me again in another one.